We're setting up new tanks. I'm pretty overwhelmed today. There's a bunch of you guys that's already on. There's probably going to be more people on soon. So if you're watching this right now or watching this on the replay, thumbs up the video. Help the brother out. Yeah, I got a new mustache for work. I hope I get that gig. I'm praying for it. I went to do the camera test and stuff. So fingers crossed. Pray for Malik to get the job. Anyways, I'm setting up these tanks down here. What's going on, live feeding? How you doing, bro? Set up this tank here. I actually have a light for it. We'll set that up right now. There's a lot of work to be done in here, and it's just me doing everything most of the time. The Goji was nice enough to come and help a few weekends, but I think he's busy this weekend. He hasn't called me, so I'm not gonna bother him. But let's see who's on. What's going on, Daniken? Kenny in the house. Big Guppy, what's up? What's up? Nathan, Sandy, how you doing, Sandy? Okay, so I got the light. This is like all temporary for now, but since I have these, I'm setting them up. This lid doesn't fit this tank exactly, so it's jerry rigged just for now, just to have a light source so we can see the fish once they go in. Alright, so I'm just gonna plug it in back here. Oh. And we'll have light. There we go. You got light. Alright. It's not the best light, but it does work so we can see the fish. And then this guy's already here. What I need to do is move this tank up to here. So there's some changes happening. I'm moving the larger tanks onto this wall, just because economically, space-wise, it's more economical to have the larger tanks on this wall here, where we're looking at, and have the racks, the big racks, going against the back wall. This got moved. Let's fix that. There we go. Okay. The bigger racks can go along the gallery wall, just because of space, you know, because there's so much stuff here. Like, look, this can't stay here, but I set this up just to get stuff off the ground. Like, look how many tanks we have that still need to set up, and all these, the big tank still on the floor, haven't had time to get it off the floor. All this has to be moved around and, you know, put into place. Like, that's going upstairs. Those are going in the shed. The styro boxes, they all need to go in the shed. So it's a lot of work here to be done, and it's just me by myself, so I'm overwhelmed. Every Saturday I have to, like, kind of do things to calm down for the first hour or so since I wake up, because I have so much to do. What's going on, Sandy? Fanatic Al, how y'all doing? Hope y'all having a great Saturday. Angel's wives, Angel ex-wives. What's up? What's up? What's up? Big Guppy, Nitin, big fan. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining on this Saturday with me. I'm gonna be trying to do some work for a bit. I'll live stream the work, but we gotta feed everyone. So let's do that first. So let's feed these guys over here. This tank needs the water change like ASAP. But before we do that, we just feed them right now real quickly. There's a lot of fish in there. So these guys are going into the new tanks that are getting set up. But we'll go in the basement real quickly and feed those guys too. I was gonna live stream yesterday. What's going on, Sandu? I am still using Basileir. Yeah, but right now I'm feeding this stuff for the growouts, because it's what I have right here. But we do have a few big cans of Basileir throughout the house, and everybody gets that pretty much at least once a day, more or less. There should be a can of Basilia downstairs. I've actually tried to put a can of food in each floor right now, but eventually I want to have each type of food, one can in each room, so we don't have to really look around. See if it's Basilia can right there. Okay, so let's feed these guys. Oh, you guys are gonna love this. Can you see the fish? Okay, tell me you don't love this. This is like my favorite thing to do. Like, come here and feed the crowds. Like, these guys are begging for food, okay? And it's not like I haven't fed them. There is a dead fish we gotta remove. So let's do that whilst we're here. Find a net, because I'm not getting my hands dirty right now. Okay. Alright. Let's get the dead fish out first. So these are all Michael's fish. Okay, you guys are not what I'm trying to catch. I'm trying to catch the dead guy. Come on, everybody else, out of the net. Oh my god, they're so difficult to catch the dead guy because they're all coming into the net. These guys are so stupid. Can you guys see what's going on? Like, how much hassle this is to remove. Oh my, okay, you know what? This is not gonna work. I don't want to kill any of you by accident, so. Okay. It's not, nothing in the net. Dry the net, see? So it's not dripping water all over the floors. Alright. So this one died because of bloat. We'll look at that real quickly. Can you see it? The big belly? That's a sign of bloat. So now these rams, every once in a while, do suffer from that, just because, you know, we're feeding them heavily. There's a lot of them, so some of the bigger guys tend to eat more every so often, and end up getting like this. So it's the odd one that dies. Nothing you can do about it. My plan is to minimize these types of deaths as much as possible, but especially when we move them and stuff like that, you know, things do happen to the odd fish. Not much you can do about it. So let's put some food. Look at these guys eat. I mean, there's a couple of hundred fish in here, you know. One fish dying is not the end of the world, but I still don't like to see dead fish. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally don't like to see death, you know, as much as possible. If they're old, we'll go upstairs and I'll show you like a really old fish that is probably gonna die, and I wouldn't be upset if when it does die because it lived a nice, long, healthy life, you know. But yeah, look, they're all eating now. So I just threw some basilia in here. Yeah, Danny. Yeah, Ken. Like I had to I had to use my hand because they were coming into the net. You know. What's going on, Greg? Yeah, fish love it. These guys seem to love the basiliers. So what I'm feeding, so I feed two different kinds of food down here. I'll show you guys both. Three actually. The bug bites, I've been lazy and I haven't had time to fill out the cans. They ran out. They're like one of the favorite foods that all the fish seem to really like, and less issues with the bug bites. So I kind of like that. Basilia also. So these guys are almost ready to go to market. We are gonna sell these to local pet stores, and we will be able to. Do I make baby brine shrimp? Not yet. Like, not at this place. I used to at the old place, and I just haven't had my airline set up and everything, and a location to actually start hatching them. I'll probably end up hatching them upstairs somewhere. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I think once I have the middle room set up, that's where it probably will be end up being, because I have shelves there. inside the closet where I have the air pump and stuff like that. I'll show you guys all this when we go up there. But yeah, Michael hatches baby brine shrimp, like a million of them a day, I think, right now, and he's taking care of all the baby fish for me, like, as well. So all my baby fish, the baby angels, go to his house for the first few weeks of life, like the first 8 weeks or so, and then they end up coming back here to grow out, and then from here they go to the pet store. So that's what we've been doing for the last 2.5 months or so, because I haven't set up my brine shrimp hatchery or anything like that. I haven't set up anything upstairs, to be completely honest. All I've been doing is coming home from work, feeding fish, taking care of things, and running around, making sure nothing is like dying, and dealing with my dog and whatever. You know, taking care of like essentials, but not really getting a lot of work that I need to chip away at. But I've been chipping away at it little by little. You know what I mean? So it's been a struggle. Can't lie. It's been a struggle working and managing everything. Like this tank needs to move upstairs, like here in this rack. We can't even move the rack because it's too tall. So the tank needs to come off the rack and then go upstairs. And once that happens, we can get this rack to where it needs to be, so this space opens up and stuff like that. You know, so it's a lot of work left in here. But there's another tank of rams over there. There's some black rams. These guys are for sale. $10 each if you're buying a lot, you know. So you gotta buy at least like 25 fish if you want the $10 each deal. Otherwise they're like 20 to 25 bucks. But these guys, we're probably gonna be selling them at like 15 bucks each retail. Just because, you know, we have so many black rams right now. So there's some gold rams as well. So put some food in there. If Michael is watching, we do have a tank ready to go up here, as well as the tank on the other side of this tank ready to go. I do need to clean some of these also, and then we do have this tank. No heater in it yet, but it seems warm enough to put some fish, like catfish and stuff like that. But yeah, so these guys are all eating. So this particular batch of black rams, there's also gold rams that were born together with them. They're actually larger, the gold rams. But predominantly the gold ram to black ram ratio is pretty low. There's very little gold rams and there's a lot more black rams that are born. So it's not a bad genetic pool. But there's also some other rams that were mixed into it just because, you know, they didn't have a tank. So there's like this lighter colored electric ones. I think they're like an electric strawberry hybrid. So those guys are mixed in there just to grow them out in terms of space. So yeah, so we'll go around and look at some more fish whilst we feed them. Camera getting stuck. Another tank and another tank of rams. Oh, there's other fish in here. There's this guys. If you guys somebody wants to Google these are like some gorgeous fish. There's 4 or 5 of them in here. There's the bigger ones. They're nice. See? They're like a convict type of fish, but much prettier. Central American, I'm guessing. And there's some electric blue aparas. So those guys came from New Brunswick, Canada. So far east. I think 13 or 14 hour drive, if I'm not mistaken, from where I live. So they were driven for 14 hours and dropped off at our facility, which was super cool actually. And I slept through most of it because it happened like early in the morning. Yeah, we can go upstairs and look at the albino dantums and talk about their care requirements briefly. Yes, that's not a problem. Okay, so all these fish get Dr. Basilera. You can see the little catfish. They're super cute. They're like one of my favorite right now in the fish room. Those are baby Synodontis lucipinus. There's hundreds of those guys in here. You can see some of them. And then there are hundreds of those in the tank beside us, which we will look at in a second also. Yeah, let me look at some of the questions. What's going on, Jay Olivers? I hope you're doing well and staying healthy also. Thank you for joining. Nice, Fishy Mike. That's good. It's good to have a group. Do I prefer tall tanks for growth? What's going on, Stubbs? How you doing, mate? I honestly, it depends on the fish. Like for Synodontis lucipinus type of catfish or these rams, it doesn't seem to matter the height of the tank. The fish seem to, just live everywhere. But for like angelfish and stuff like that, it does seem to be beneficial for growing out some of the long fin varieties that you want to grow bigger and stuff. The taller tanks seem to work well for that, so I personally prefer those for that type of fish. But for other fish, it doesn't matter. But for discus and stuff and angels and stuff, where height matters, then yes, which we will look at now. So these are some of our blue turquoise discus. There's a dark one. It's just it's been changing back and forth, but everybody else is doing really well. We haven't had any losses in this group since they've moved into the facility, and they've been growing really well and doing really well. And they're starting to color up some of these guys. You might be able to see some color on some of them. So hopefully in the next few weeks we will start seeing a lot more color, and a lot of these guys and girls will be going into pet stores in the coming months, so stay tuned, and we will be doing some videos about that as well. And there's a pet store tour coming up. I just have to finish editing it. So there's lucipinus in here also, which we will look at now. We'll put some food. They're inside these hides. There's a couple of hundred in here. We lost 14 since not since we got there, but the day of travel, because they don't travel all that well, and there were so many of them in the bucket, and we ended up losing 14 of them in the transport. But since then, no other losses, so it's been good. There's no light on this tank, so sorry about that. Not yet, at least. We will get the lights on soon. Again, that's my fault, because I have to send Michael the link to where to buy the light, and I haven't done that. Look, they're all coming up. See? There's hundreds of these guys in the tank. Look at that. There's so many. There's so many. I'm always worried that I'm underfeeding them, but I'm not, because I look at the barbs, and if the barbs are fed, I feel like the catfish have gotten a lot of food too, because the barbs, they eat in the mid-water. The food falls to the bottom, and so if the barbs are well fed, then I feel like all the catfish have gotten food. And I haven't found any dead ones, which is good, So, really exciting tank to feed. Can you guys see the action? The live action? The feeding frenzy. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This tank is fun. If you guys and girls that are in the Greater Toronto area want some of these, either in your pet stores, because I know sometimes pet stores watch my live streams as well, or if you just want to buy some, just send us a message. We do have, they are wholesale price is $7 each. But retail, I think these guys retail for about $20, but we can do better price than that if you just want to buy a couple. You know what I mean? Send me a message, we can work something out. They do work better in groups, and they are great for African cichlid tanks, because they are actually fish that come from the same lakes as some of our African cichlids that we like to keep in our aquariums. So these are Synodontis lucipinus. They're really nice fish. The barbs are Odessa barbs. So these are all males. Michael has a way of creating all males. He's still perfecting his method, but this time it was all males. So we're very happy about that. They are coloring up. They're going to turn bright red, and they're beautiful fish. They make a great addition to any aquarium, and they live in this plant, this fake plant. We do have some live plants in here too, like see right there, like a clump of stuff. But they need a light. So moving on, let's go over to the other fish room where we have our discus, or some more of our discus. Okay, so this is these guys are growing so well. I'm really excited for this one. So let me get the camera situated properly so you can see the tank. And we'll go close up and look at some of the fish in here. Let's throw some food. They're all hungry. Hungry hippos. That's what I like to call them. So they get tetratropical color granules. Can you guys see how much food I threw in there? Quite a lot, eh? But they eat this in like 20 minutes or so. It's all gone. So they do eat quite a bit. And these tanks get about 50% water change on the weekends. That's something I'd have to do today also, I think. Because Michael is not feeling too well, so he might not be able to come and help me with the water changes down here. So I'm not gonna live stream too long because I have to do a bunch of work upstairs as well. So let's try to get all the feedings done first. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this is the upper tank, or the above tank. There's only 19 fish in here, so that's food for them. There's 17 of you guys on. That's amazing. Thank you for joining. What's going on, Greatest Ever? How you doing? What's going on, Scaper? Oh, the barbs are Odessa barbs. So what I've been trying to do is remove the peppering, and it's been working. That's why I'm feeding the tetra. So you see the red coming out. A lot of the peppering has gone in these guys. See, this one's like nice. It's clearing up quite a bit. So there is a big part food plays in the color of your discus. So that's something a lot of people don't realize initially. But if you want the animal to look a specific way, especially redfish, need to have a lot of food. This one's real nice. I like that look. That's like one of my favorite looks. I might keep that one. I'm definitely keeping a couple of these. The orange ones are probably going to end up staying also to get breeding pairs. And then down below, I'll just take this off so we can go close up. There we go. There we go. Look at this ram's colors. It's like different than everybody else. His face is all black. On both sides too. It's amazing color on that one. It's a pretty fish, but it has slight deformity to its face, so it's not good for breeding. These guys are $6 each, but that's like wholesale, so you gotta buy the whole lot if you want them for $6 each. We have like, I think like about 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, there's about 10, you know. Thank you so much for joining, and hope you have a great day as well, Danny. Danny Kenny. I don't know which one of the two of you are on. I'm guessing it's Ken. Thank you so much, and see you soon, mate. What's going on, Joe? I'm gonna need to personal text message. I need to get the alerts when you go. I'm pissed. I messaged the group. I don't know if you got that, but I'll message the other group now also. Well, not now, but the next time. But you here. Sorry about that. What's going on, Joe? John? John, where, Joe? Thank you, you escaper. Fishy Mike says, hang on the bag. No, I mean, I don't think so. Angelfish. Okay, so maybe reduce the flow on the hang on the bag. You know, like you might want to have less flow on the power filter, and then increase the sponge, like something like this kind of flow. So you have a lot of filtration. But like we even have these guys in here, like the power heads. I don't even know if it's on. Doesn't look like it. I might just unplug that. There's a female ram that got in here and it's been bullied, so we might have to remove that one. We might not make it. But yeah, these big guys are nice. So if you just want to have a bunch of rams in a tank, this is the way to go. These big boys, they will fight, but since there's no females that are ready to breed in here, they won't kill each other. And then you need a big size tank, like something like this, with a large amount of plant cover and places for them to hide and things of that sort. But yeah, so what's going on, Sylvia? What did you miss? So far we've just been feeding some of the fish. Do the albino dentum like no flow, or do they like a bit like the opposite? Yeah, like a small amount of flow, it doesn't hurt any fish. What you don't want is like a forceful amount of flow where the fish can't stand and it has to fight against the current constantly to stay afloat. That's what you don't want, because that's going to wear them out too much. And the next thing is, with any angelfish, including dantums and altums, they need to be eating constantly throughout the day. So same thing with these guys, 4 or 5 times a day is ideal. At least 3 to 4 times. Decent feedings. Like, so these guys all ate pretty well right now, and they're all chunky and fat. Doing well. There's a little bit of food left. They're gonna finish this in the next 10 minutes or so. And when I come back in a couple of hours, they'll be begging for food again. So on the weekends and on the days that I have like relatively shorter work days, like 8 to 10 hour work days, then I get to feed them at least 3 to 4 times. But on days that I work like 14, 15, 16 hours, sometimes they only get the 2 feedings, maybe 3 feedings. But then Michael does come over in the evenings on certain days, most days actually during the week, and he also feeds them. So they end up getting the 4th feeding generally almost every day. So that's the one trick I found for them to grow the way they do, coupled with at least a weekly 50% water change. Just because we don't have them overcrowded, but if you have them a little bit more crowded in the tank, like maybe 50 to 60 fish in a 60 gallon, you might want to do a daily or every other day 50% water change to remove the nitrates and have really good filtration. Those are the important things. But aside from that, they grow pretty fast, like with the good food. The food I feed right now has 47% protein, and they seem to grow like rabbits. We're getting really good growth. These guys were like much smaller like a couple of weeks ago. They've doubled in size, like some of these big ones, since they've been here. And I don't notice it because I'm here every day. I look at them, but there's days when I come home from work and I'm like, oh, you've grown since yesterday. Look at this one. I really like these. These are like my favorites. The wild look. I want to keep a bunch of these wild looking ones. This one. I like this one quite a bit. It's nice red on it. I like that look, you know, it's my favorite look. And then I also like the orange ones. I'm not gonna lie, I really like the orange ones. I like them. They're pretty fish. So if you guys have any that you like also that you want me to keep, let me know. And this guy's really pretty. See, the peppering is gone on a lot of these. Like, there's still a bit, but like this one is pretty clear now. This one has a bit, but still more clearer than like before, right? Like it cleared up quite a bit. And the red on these ones are coming out nice also, like the brown ones. I really like the brown ones. They're like my favorite, see? Anywho, so these are some of the discus we have. That's what I'm feeding them, right there. Color enhancing and bug bites color enhancing. Both seem to work really well to get the color up on the fish. And these guys were peppered out when we got them in, or when they came over from Michael's, just because they were still babies. So they had a lot more of this kind of color. And now they're like a lot more bright orange with very little peppering. Most of the larger ones have completely cleared up. Some of the smaller ones still have some. You can see it. Like this guy, for example, has a lot of peppering. Right? You see the black on him, like the dots. So we're trying to get rid of the dots. No more black dots. I want like clean. What's going on, Dillian? Hurrah, bro. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Okay, so let's go upstairs. Let's look at those fish. Anywho, so since Dillian's here, let's look at some of the fish up here real quickly too. So all the new people get to see all the fish that we have. So, oh yeah, these are the strawberry rams. They're really pretty. Let's show you guys a female. Look at that. They're really pretty. So this is a new strain of fish that we bred. Michael bred, actually, not me. They're really nice. But we're producing these right now. These are available for sale. Wholesale price is $50 each. But these adult fish that are breeding size. So, you know, retail, these guys would be about $50 each. But if you buy like this whole group of 6 fish, for example, I can do a really good deal. Because then, you know, I can give you the wholesale price. So if anybody wants to breed these, we have a bunch more. But this is the group that's breeding here. So this is the backup group. And this group is for sale. So that's the male. There's 3 males and 3 females. They're really pretty. I really like them. They're like a powdery blue on the males, and the females have the strawberry color. Let me get the female back on. This girl is pretty. She's ready to breed. That's why you can see more color on her. So it's a unique fish. It's really pretty. I think it would look nice in a planted tank. You know, with a lot of green plants, and you can have a pair of these or a couple of pairs in a large tank, like a 75-gallon like this, breeding and raising fry. It would be a good sight, I think. Beautiful fish to have. So, anywho, we will be going upstairs. Okay, since we've done feeding everybody here, so let us go upstairs. There's Princess Peach. What are you doing here, Princess Peach? What's up? Can you go upstairs? She comes and looks at the fish. It's cool down here, so it's actually nice. The dog likes them. So anybody that just joined, so these are some of the fish we have. These are some of the discus. So look, we put food in. All the food's gone. I mean, they're all fed now. Like most of the bigger ones have eaten a lot more than the little ones. So that's a thing I want to fix. It also like maybe separate the smaller guys into their own tank, eventually we'll have more tanks upstairs where we can separate these little guys out and grow them up a little bit more. Separate from the larger ones. Same thing can be done with some of these, just to minimize losses and stunting and stuff like that. You know, issues with growth. Oh, we missed these ones. I forgot to feed them also. I'll come back and feed them. I don't look too hungry. There's less fish in here, so usually I end up feeding this tank one less time than the other tanks, just because I don't want to overfeed it. And I tend to have tendency sometimes to put more food in these particular tanks that have less fish. Actually, I have to feed. Did I feed these guys? I feel like I didn't. I didn't feed them. We just looked at them. Okay, let's feed these. See what I mean? Like, I'm always like here working, and then I have no time to do the stuff that I need to get done. Oh my god, I hit my back on a piece of wood. Ow. Sorry, don't look at my tushy. Let's put some food in here. Alright. There we go. So we'll feed those guys. I'm gonna feed the guys up top while you guys watch those things. So, yep, they've all eaten. I don't see any dead fish in there, which is a good sign. Because when they first arrived, for the first few days, there was a couple dying. The smaller, like weaker, you know. Those ones are not good to go to the pet store anyways. And we don't want to sell fish that could die when they transport. So, like, that's not a bad thing per se, but we did lose a couple here and there. And now that has stopped, which is good. And then these guys are eating. So these are available also for sale. If anybody wants to buy these, I think they're $10 each wholesale right now. These are like adult size fish ready to breed. They've been breeding. We did send some to New Brunswick. You know, we do send fish all over Canada also, as long as you're willing to ship them or pay for the shipping, and it's in the summertime, or you know, fall and spring is also acceptable, but not in the winter. We are gonna go up there right now, Fishy Mike. Aquatic Amigos, what's up? What's going on, Nonstop? Zabs, yes, we'll go see them. We have new babies also to see. Alright. Oh, what's that noise? It's the new pump. Let's go look at it. Alright. Gotta make sure the pump is good. Alright. Pump is still working. Oh! Pump failed. See? These are the things we need to, the thing came off. So, what's going on, Andre? I guess I should probably put some type of hose clamp on this. Try a zip tie first. But how did this happen? Two things. Gravity. These things are pulling on it. There we go. And also the tube got hot. It's really warm. So I feel like it's also going to come off from the other side. So I guess some type of zip ties to fasten it all in, tighten the connectors, should be good. But we need these tanks up and running today. like now, ASAP, because I need to move fish. I can't. I need tanks. You know, I can't keep all my fish in like 20 tanks. It's just not fair. Not for them, not for me, not for anybody. Because it's not fair for the fish because they're cramped up into tight tanks that they need more space. It's not fair for me because I have to do more work to keep them clean and healthy and live and running and you know whatnot. So we're upstairs looking at the dantons, like requested by Mike. So these are our dantons. We'll feed them. Okay, so there's a question. There's two questions. We're gonna answer these real quickly. So there's a question from Jonathan Bishop, which is Nonstop Aquatics. He just texted me this. What about mixing all Ebo food together? Now, this is a really good strategy if you are feeding growouts, for example, and you don't care about the the different foods for different seasons, for example. But if you're feeding adult breeding fish, I would say that's not a smart strategy because you might want to just feed mussels for 2 weeks. Because in nature, food varies, right? So like for example, what Thomas and Yuri from Peco Ceramics is doing and there's a few other people doing this, and I do this myself, not as um, regimentally as they do, but like I also change the foods that they get every few months. I predominantly would feed one thing over the other. For example, 3 months I'll feed them Evo, um, the Artemia ProSoft, and then for 3 months I'll feed them mussel more, and for 3 months I'll feed them something else like the plankton more. You know what I mean? And then for 3 months they just get Basileir straight, whatever, or 2 months, whatever, and bug bites for like that time, and they're getting Basileir and just bug bites. So it would be Basileir and Artemia ProSoft for like 2 months or 3 months, and then Basileir and sponge for 2 months, 3 months. You know what I mean? So you change the seasons, and then that seems to also be beneficial for the animal. And also, both Yuri and Thomas believe that there's breeding advantages in doing that. So, and I don't doubt them, So that's a really good question. I think for grow-out fish, I think it would be just fine. But for adult breeding fish, I would still want to have the option of feeding varied diets throughout the year, just to stimulate natural conditions and what they might experience in nature in terms of getting various types of food, so on and so forth. So that's what I have to say to that. And then Joe has a question. Joe's question is, hit the like button. Yes, please do. Assuming no fish in the tank, is there any negative effects if you put a dead fish in a snail? No, not at all. Not at all. Especially a fish that died from natural conditions. There's nothing wrong with other animals eating that. And in my Pleco tanks, for example, when a tetra, for example, dies of natural causes, I usually don't get to take that body out. I barely find anything, and if I do, it's like a half or three-quarter eaten skeleton. And so most of the time I just leave it. And if it's like an angelfish, they still go to town on it. Like by the time the next day I find the older dead angelfish, and doesn't seem to affect them negatively. A lot of these animals, their natural role in the ecosystems also, for example, plecos or shrimp, is to remove dead and dying animals, and so that it doesn't become putrid and degrade the water quality. So like in nature, that's what they generally would be doing. Um, so I know it's kind of disgusting and gross, but reality is it's just nature. You know what I mean? But like now again, if the animal died from a disease, I would not recommend feeding it to your snails or shrimp or anything like that, or in a Pleco tank, if an animal dies from a disease, you would want to remove that dead animal immediately, and also any sick animals, because you don't want the disease to spread. But at the same time, if you have a healthy ecosystem in your tank and there's no new fish added, and your fish are like living 8-10 years and they get old and they die, one of them, and your Plecos go after it and eat the dead animal, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's totally fine. I mean, in terms of your ammonia balance and stuff, depends on how good your established setup is to 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 handle that additional amount of waste. But in terms of the animals eating the naturally dead animal, doesn't cause them any harmful effects. It's just like feeding. Your fish food has quite a bit of dead fish in it. Basilar is, I think, 60 or 70% fish, like dead fish. So it's quite okay. you know. What's going on, B-Boy Graphics? How you doing? I hope that answers your question and dispels any negative, scare you might have, or have been told not to. Like most people panic when they have a dead fish. But like, for example, like this tank, for example, right? Like, I mean, I have 6 fish in here. There's a filter. There's another filter. There's sand. There's plants. It's pretty healthy setup. Now, if one of these guys died, they're pretty large fish, so it might cause an imbalance for a few days. But in this particular setup, just since because there's only 6 fish and there's so much going on to keep them, happy and healthy, if one of these guys died and I didn't notice it, let's say it died and went into the plants, and I came home, I didn't count them, whatever, like I'm working 6 days a week, and whatever, nothing's going to happen to the rest of the fish because the tank is well established. Even the stuff in the front glass, I know people hate to see that stuff, but that's actually beneficial to keeping the environment nice and healthy, right? It's growing because it's necessary. There's extra nutrients for this stuff to grow, right? So if that died, if an animal, I mean, I'm not hoping nothing dies. I'm hoping nothing dies in here, but at the same time, let's say something happens, God forbid, and one of these fish died. Like, not much is gonna change in the rest of the environment as long as that animal died from a natural cause. But if it died from a disease, chances are all the other ones are going to have the same disease, and that change in the environment would be enough to weaken the other guys to also be susceptible to the disease and die. So those are things to keep in mind. So it's always a good idea to remove dead fish. I'm not telling you to leave dead fish in your tank, that's a disclaimer, I guess. But so in this, I'll give you an example. There's a fish that's really old, 8 to 10 years old. It's been in my tank forever. Don't mind the empty beer cans, because I've been going to work, coming home, drinking beer, going to sleep, waking up, going back to work. So that's been my life. Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right. And let there be light. Again, glass is not clean. Don't be like mad about that, because there's fish in here that need to eat that algae, and so right now that's their food source, secondary food source, these guys, for example. But what I wanted to show you is this female right here. See right there? She's really old. Okay? She's gonna die. Like, I mean, any day I come home, I look for her to see if she's still alive. Okay? There's a male that's really old in here also. He has an eye condition. It's like a cataract. It's grown out of his eye now. He's like about 8 years old also, maybe 9. And these guys I've had forever. They're large fish. They're about that big. Some of these smaller ones have been born in the facility here over the years, and there's a couple that I also purchased over the years. Those guys are about 5 years old, maybe 5-6 years. But the really big ones are, you know what I mean? Like 8, 9, 10 years old now. So, this guy, for example, this girl. So she's gonna die eventually. And if she dies on a day when I'm at work, and these guys eat it, because that's what they do, right? Completely fine. I mean, I'm not too worried about that. You know, if I come home one day and I find her half buried in the sand, I know exactly what happened to her. You know, you know what I mean? And they will eat her eventually if I don't get her out in time and she dies. But she's not diseased. You know what I mean? She's a healthy animal. She's just really old. She does have a little bit of stuff growing on her head. You know, whatever. That's old age. You know, it's not a disease. That's just age. Okay, affecting on the animal. And you can see her eyes are a little bit popped out, you know. But that's also again a sign of her age. Nothing to be too alarmed. Her back is bent. Her fin's a little broken in the back. You know what I mean? She's an old girl. I've had her for a long time. But yeah, you can't really see her too clearly because of the algae on the glass, which is grown for these guys to eat. These hillstream loaches. Eventually, I will clean the front glass once I remove the other fish, and I just make this a hillstream loach tank. The apitanos are going into a much larger tank downstairs. But you can see her now. See, she's old. She's very old. So that's what I want to just show you. You know, she's an old girl, and when she dies, I'm not going to be too sad. But a younger fish dying, I will be sad. B-Boy Graphics just messaged me. Oh no, he messaged you, Escaper, not to me. Okay, here we go. Look at some of these guys up top. So this is something I have to do today. I have to sort these fish based on quality and you know, size and stuff, because Miss Kim from Dragon Aquarium is gonna come purchase some of these tomorrow. What's going on, Steiner? How you doing, mate? Either tomorrow or next weekend, she's coming by to pick up fish. Yeah, I'm just messaging back to Joey. When she gets here, I want to have all the fish that she can take in tanks ready to go, separated based on size and color. And I want to actually pick out maybe about 40 fish for myself out of all these fish to grow out. So that's going to be a difficult task to select. I might start doing that now, actually, after feeding everyone in here. So let's feed these guys and girls, and I'm gonna sign off in a bit, and then I'm gonna start sorting fish. I think that's my job today. Okay, so let's feed these. Oh, Mike wanted to know care and maintenance. Discus love all day, mate. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. Steiner, you are, I think, my first member when I started the membership thing, and you've been a member since then, and you've super chatted so much and been so supportive of my channel. So thank you so much for all your loyal support towards this channel. And a lot of this today is possible because of contributions from you as well as our other channel members. Like the main reason why I was able to afford this place was that I could add the additional income that was generated from the members towards on top of what I paid in rent to afford my share of the rent here. So thank you so much, and I love you so much for doing that. So we're looking at our Dantums, and we're gonna briefly talk about care and maintenance of these fish. Now, the reason these particular fish are highly desired is because they're not as needy as your ultims. You know, your wild ultims tend to be a lot more needier in terms of water quality and water conditions than your Dantums. So these are hybrids. These fish are a cross between your Altum Angels and your Scalari, which is your regular aquarium strain, which is like these type of fish. Okay? So what they've done is they've hybridized the two separate species and created this particular type of fish. This is the albino variety of it. so much more desirable than the regular, but there are regular Dantons as well. Um, and the reason these are more desirable is because they're more easier to take care of in aquariums. They don't require super low pH. These guys I keep in my tap water, which is about 7.7, 7.8 pH, all the way up to 8 sometimes, depending on the time of the year. And they seem to be fine in that water. Now I do add oak leaves and stuff like that, so the pH does drop to about 7, 6.8, somewhere there's every couple of weeks, depending on the water change schedule, but they seem to handle that quite easily. And when I do a water change, it goes back up to 7.7, 7.8, and they seem to handle that quite easily as well. Um, and they're pretty easy fish to take care of. I feed them this tetratropical colored granules. I feed them Dr. Basileir. I also feed them bug bites, color enhancing formula, and they eat all those food pretty regularly without any issues, and they're very easy to feed. Compared to Ultims, they also tend to eat more food from the bottom. Ultims don't tend to eat as much food from the bottom as these guys would. I mean, they still eat a little bit once they're comfortable, but these guys will actually go to the bottom and eat all the food that's on the bottom, compared to the Ultims, which would probably eat like maybe 25 to 30% of the food on the bottom, and leave the rest for your plecos or whatever else might be in the tank. And the temperature I keep them right now is at about 81. The temperature in this room fluctuates quite a bit throughout the day and through the week. I've measured this tank at about 83, at the highest end maybe 84, and on the low end I've measured this tank at about 77, 78, and they seem to be fine in that range. They don't seem to care too much. I haven't seen any distress, but I would not let them drop below 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 23.5 degrees Celsius, 24 Celsius. So don't keep them anything below 24 Celsius. Yeah, so high protein food, neutral water, 7, 6.5, 7.5, 8, fine. I wouldn't go above 8. I try to keep it below 8 just because they're still an angelfish. And yeah, pretty easy going fish. Very nice, very friendly, very rewarding animals to keep. Very excited to get these guys to large size so I can hopefully get some spawns out of them, which is a goal. And these fish belong to myself and Michael. He bought these actually as a housewarming gift for the fish house. So real fun, real exciting. Fishy Mike says, there's always a balance that you would have to achieve, I think. Thank you. And yeah, there's always a balance that you have to achieve. So these tanks are not that well balanced, but it's still balanced to the point where there's no losses in this tank with the amount of fish that's in there and the amount of food that goes in, and they get a weekly water change of about 30-40%, and they're still growing, and they're putting on size, and no deaths, no issues, no fighting. What's going on, Aqua Heaven? Steven in the house. How you doing, mate? Ferns and Anubias are nice. Jungle Bells are quite easy to grow also. There is a trick with jungle bells. Sand seems to work really good for jungle bells. I have had really good success with sand. Also, having an established sand bed, so over time your sand becomes more conducive to plant growth because poop gets into it and enriches the sand and just more nutrients and stuff like that. And a decent amount of KH plus in your water is important, and also some nitrites or nitrates, not nitrites, nitrates. So reduce the water changes a little bit, and that might help. Like 5 hours of light, 5-6 hours of like strong light and they do really well. But you know, they're not the most required intense, um, the demanding plants. They're pretty easy going. Pretty similar to Anubias, just a little bit more work than the Anubias plant. So if you can grow Anubias and you know whatever, and mosses, then these guys are just as easy. Um, you just have to give them 5 hours to 6 hours of high intense light, and then you're good. That's all you need for these guys, and you know it's a pretty easy going plant. But once you get them going, like oh my god, they're a jungle. Like I only put like 3 or 4 in here, and look, they're already grown. There's already babies and stuff. So, and Steven's been Aqua Haven has been a member for 3 months. Thank you so much for being a channel member. Shami has a really good question. I cannot cover this in this video because it's really hard to tell males and females in angels. So let's look at an example here. Like these fish, for example, you can't tell which one's a male or a female. They all look the same. When they become adults, then you can look at their ventral opening, which is their part where they poop, and their reproductive organ, which is called the vent. On the females it's tubular, and on the males it's more like a triangular shape. Now I do have a video on my channel that explains this quite in detail, so I highly recommend checking that out. There's also a playlist with all the angelfish breeding tips and stuff like that, and in that video I go into detail on how to tell this from the ventral opening, where I show the ventral openings of the fish. So I handle the fish. It's a little graphic, but if you have a strong stomach, I would highly recommend checking that video out. It's on my angelfish playlist on my channel. And also there's a video on how to look at body characteristics, so like the hump on the head, the size of the fish comparatively to each other, behavioral patterns, and so on and so forth. So that's another very useful video. So there's a whole bunch, and then also explaining how to breed them and stuff like that. Aqua Heaven says, I'm good. Thank you. Me as well. Hope you're having a great Saturday. To my snails in the aquarium, I'm eating my plants. The only girl. Yeah, you know, that's another thing too. Snails definitely go after your plants, especially specific types of snails. I like pond snails and Malaysian trumpet snails because they don't eat any of your plants. The ram's horn snails tend to go after a lot of the red plants. I don't like them at all because they eat all the red plants, and they're not fun fish or fun animals to keep because they eat all the red plants. So I'm feeding these guys here. Okay, we can use a little bit more food. Everybody can use a little bit more food. They're all pigs. These guys are like, they're, you know, when I'm in here, I feed them several times. So they all get quite a bit of food. And we're going to go over and feed the other pinks. You can't really look at the steps because the lights are not on. We will turn some lights on in here. There we go. So after this tank, I will end the video, so answer some questions and then end the video. We have a pair actually. These two have been hanging out together for a while now. So I think we do have a pair. Might have to separate them into their own tank relatively soon. So whilst you guys look at those fish, I'm going to feed the rest of the fish in the fish room. They need to be in their own tank. very soon. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm trying really hard to get the tanks in the basement, in the living room setup as soon as possible, just because I need to move all these fish into their own setups. And space wise, you know, everybody needs, all these placos need to be separated into their own tanks. All the angels need to get their own breeding tanks. There's so many breeding pairs that need different setups and stuff like that. And then down below we have some more angels that we purchased, and some placos that we purchased. So these are all growouts. Doing well. Everybody's doing well. Things are moving really fast. Just been difficult to manage everything, and I'm overwhelmed most days. Like today, like I'm so overwhelmed because I have so many things to get done, and I feel like I'm not gonna even get half of them done. So my goal is to at least get 50% of what I need to get done today done, so that I feel like productive. But you know, it overwhelms you after a while. Um, yeah, so true, Fanatic Al. Uh, with the carbonated water, no more moving with CO2 tanks and cheaper. Yeah, it's difficult. It's a lot of work. Yeah, I have 2 CO2 tanks as well, but I didn't buy them. I inherited them, but I'm not gonna set those up. Anywho, if there's any last minute questions, I'm gonna answer them now, and then I'm gonna sign off because I want to get a lot of this work done. There's a lot of work to be done today. Water changes, sorting fish, you know, moving fish around, setting up tanks, so on and so forth. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all have a great Saturday and amazing weekend, and hope your fish are doing well. And unless there's any last minute questions, I am gonna sign up. Shami says hello, love from India, and hello, how are you? Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. So I'm gonna sign off, and I'll do another live stream tonight when Michael is here, if he's down to do that. He's been a bit under the weather, so I don't know what his mood or his ability to do a live stream would be like. But if he is able to, we will do a live stream tonight when he's here. He's bringing more fish over, and I will also do a live stream tomorrow. My only plan this weekend is to pick up my dry cleaning and to get work done in here because I'm back to work next week. So it's hectic, you know. You only have the 2 days off, and the odd day in the middle of the week to run errands, which essentially takes up the whole day because, you know, there's so much things to do and everything takes time, you know, so on and so forth. So it is what it is, but we are trying to get things done. More videos are coming soon. So what's going on, Tim's Fish Room? Hope you're doing good. Nice, thank you, Sandy. Hope you're doing well, sweetheart. And okay, so I'm gonna sign off. God bless you. I'll see you soon, and hope you all have a great weekend. God bless you.